It's PRTV Spurs, Paxton Road TV. It's the preview show. Aston Villa versus Tottenham Hotspur. 2 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. Is this the battle for fourth? And could this be the deciding game? Plenty of games to go yet. Plenty of games to go. But this is going to be an interesting game. Lots to talk about. Join us as we preview Aston Villa, Tottenham Hotspur. Welcome to PRTV Spurs. We've got a wicked weekend coming up. Plenty of good football happening. But it's Aston Villa versus Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Joining me to do the preview is my main man, my sidekick, Mr. Sam, Spurs for Life. Good afternoon, Sam. How are ya?
Good afternoon. All good, thank you, Sid. Happy with my new setup because I can wear all my colours of my kit. Because when you've got a green screen, you can't wear certain colours because this would have been all funny. But anyway, that's another story. I'm good.
Good. And welcome to everyone who is joining us for the preview show for tomorrow. If you already haven't subscribed to PRTV Spurs, what you waiting for? Just get over there or get here, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because there's people still not subscribed to the channel and we need you all there. Sam.
Yes.
Big game tomorrow. Some people are saying it's not a big game. Some people are saying there's plenty more games to go yet. There's going to be a lot of drama between now and the end of the season. In terms of tomorrow's game, then what's your perspective? Is it a big game? Is it a must-win game for Spurs? Or can we lose this game tomorrow and still give it a hard, good shot?
If we lose it, it will make it tremendously difficult to get top four. It would also give Aston Villa a clear advantage. They've played one game less than us, but they're already 5 points ahead of us. So that'd be 8 points with only one game in hand for us. That means potentially we could only be 5 points behind them. And with 10 games for them left after tomorrow, it gets increasingly less and less games. And, you know, it doesn't really look like we would be able to make it. But if we don't lose, then I think we've got a good chance. And on the back of that, Villa just played a European game as well.
Yeah, you know all this about, obviously, it's if we lose tomorrow or if we win tomorrow, I'm for one of them. If we, obviously, we'll talk about it anyway, but I think Villa are one of them sides where at home, they're ruthless. They're absolutely ruthless. And as Juice says in the comment section, good afternoon, Juice, if they're on it, Villa can be on it on a serious note. Yeah, and they can put teams to bed. Games can be over within 10, 25 minutes if they're on it. However, you know, it's down to us to go there tomorrow and give them a tough game, make it hard for them. If we lose the game, we're 8 points behind them, and we've got a mental April coming up, and it's going to be hard to draw them 8 points back, in my opinion. They'll be on a roll. Yes, they've got European football and whatever, but 8 points is a lot of points, Sam.
I completely agree. 8 points at this stage of the season. You've got to think, had it been earlier, maybe 12, 14, 16, 18 games gone, it's different. When you start talking like last 10 games, you know, the amount of points you can win has obviously been diminished. So you've got to take each game as a game where, particularly in this instance, away from home against, I guess, your top four rival, you just can't really afford to lose. Now, if we were to lose, then we are relying on Villa to then go ahead and maybe slip up. And I don't know what their fixtures are like. We do know what our fixtures are like in April, as you just said. So again, tomorrow, don't lose the game, Spurs. If you can win it, let's win it.
Yeah, excuse the noise. I've got some work going on next door, even though I'm back in the shed. He's a lot of relentless, man. Relentless. But it is what it is. As they say, the show must go on. The show must go on. So, let's do this then. Sunday, 10th of March, 2024, 2 p.m. kickoff. All I'm saying, Spurs, is turn up tomorrow.
Is it 2 p.m.? Not, I thought it was 1 p.m. Sorry.
I think it's 2 p.m.
It's 2 p.m. You're right.
Yeah, it's my wife's birthday tomorrow, so what a nice present to give her. Then 3 points at Villa Park.
It could be worse. You know what I mean? I've had bad birthdays with Spurs have played, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is it. So, 57 times Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa have locked horns. Who's been the villains and who have been? Is it a 1 p.m. kickoff? Okay.
Is it 1 p.m.?
Kickoff.
It is 1 p.m.
Oh, okay. Why is it 1 p.m. then?
I thought it was because I'm sure I saw something that said 1 p.m. I'm not sure why. Sorry,
They're doing these stupid mad things now because of it's 1 p.m. kickoff. You've got a 1 p.m., 2 p.m.s, and 3:45. Man City, Liverpool, 3:45. Do you know these? Honestly, these Sky and BT and all them lot, they're just taking the absolute biscuit out of fans now, having these stupid freaking kickoff times. Why are you moving all these kickoff times? Absolute joke. Absolute joke.
I noticed last week that the Super Sunday game was at 3 o'clock, and I don't know. There was a women's game at 6 something, but I just kind of threw me. So yeah, I'm sure I saw 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Yeah, so it's 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3:45. They just, you know what? They're just taking the rip out of these fans and fan base, man. They don't care. Thank you, Michael, for correcting us. 1 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. Then Spurs and Villa, 57 meetings, of which Aston Villa have won 18, Spurs have won 24. At home, they have won 10. We've beaten them 10 times at Villa Park. 14 home wins for Spurs and 8 away wins for Aston Villa. 15 draws. So they've beaten us 10 times at their place. We've beaten them 10 times at their place. So in terms of Villa Park, it's an interesting one. Looking at that, Sam.
Yeah, I've been to Villa Park. I've seen us win there, and notoriously we have been pretty good away from home. The victories suggest that 24 wins there, 18 is a good record. Again, the away wins are substantial. Draws 15. It's going to be a tough game. It's a different proposition. I always say this. Different managers, different setup, different players, different times. They've lost some players in the past. You can talk of Jack Grealish being one of them. Others have gone, but they've also replaced, and I think the manager has made a massive difference. He wants to win. He's a winner, and so it's going to be a tough game, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Juicy's not looking forward to the game. He's already got butterflies. Villa could roll up things and click for them. We still don't seem to be sorted. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for us tomorrow is the fact that Villa have played midweek. There is no excuse for us having played midweek, and also we're not playing at home. And I don't expect Villa to sit back at home. So
of course
those things play to our advantage.
Yeah, but Villa had that good record, didn't they? Where they weren't losing. They've not lost for X amount of games, and then they lost one, I think, and then they come back bouncing back. So at home, they seem to be doing what Arsenal seem to be doing, and City, where they're rolling teams quite early on. What you've been saying, what your quote is, the first 20 minutes, they seem to be rolling teams and get the job done, and then sort of sit back. They've done that to Luton, but Luton did come back 3, and then they lost 3-2. But they're one of these teams that they'll go at us, but we're going to have as much chance as going at them. And we'll talk about this as we go later on, but I've got a key feeling where this battle is going to be decided tomorrow. Right, so in terms of head-to-head, November the 21st, 2021, Villa 1, Spurs 2 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 7th of March, 2022, Spurs beat 4-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 15th of October, 2022, Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 0 at Villa Park. 3rd of April, 2023, Aston Villa 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And the final meeting, as we all know, 23rd of December 2023, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Aston Villa 2 at Villa Park. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, 3rd of April, that's the one that I'm talking about. Yeah, so 3 wins, 2 losses. What are you saying to that? Last 5 meetings.
I'm confused. So the last game against them, we won. That's right. Villa Park.
Yeah, 2-1 at Villa Park.
Yeah. The game before that. So what was the game that Bentancur got injured? It was that game, wasn't it?
That's the home game. So hold on.
That was the home game. So that's what I'm saying. I thought that was the home game.
I'm missing something there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I do know that the last game out, obviously, we had that controversial situation with them, and they won. They won the game. That's why I got confused. I was like, "Oh my god, I was there! Didn't they win?" But it don't matter. So yeah, that was the game where Bentancur came back and then had to come off injured because of Matty Cash.
Yeah,
and I suspect that these players will have that in their mind. We are probably up to as full a strength as we're going to get probably for the rest of this season, bar 1 or 2 players. I'm not sure what's happening with that man, Solomon. I thought he was coming back. I didn't see the preview yet, but I do know that Porro's on his way back.
Porro is in.
So Porro's in. That's a magnificent fillip for us, because I think that's where our strengths and potentially weaknesses can get exposed. As I said, I don't think the other 2 play in that position well. But yeah, we have to make sure we don't lose against them tomorrow. If we win, bonus. So
our record at Villa Park, 13th of March 2016, beat them 2-0. Harry Kane scored 2. 6th of February 2020, beat them 3-2. Alderweireld, Son 2. 21st of March 2021, we beat them 2-0. Vinicius and Kane. 9th of April 2022, we beat them 4-0. Son 3, Kulu 1, and you saw the 3 Son goals in the intro. And 13th of May 2023, we lost 2-1 with a Kane goal. 4 wins and 1 loss at Villa Park in our last 5 meetings. We've had 4 different managers. We've had Poch, Mourinho, Conte, and Ryan Mason. So, number 6 manager, no, 4th manager, 1, 2, 3, 5th manager tomorrow's game. So, Villa Park, last 5 meetings, Sam, we've only lost once.
Yeah, so when did Emery join Villa? Was it the season 22-23?
Yeah, it was.
The season before that. Because I'm just looking at that, because I'm only really going by the last 2 results in terms of the 22 and 23. We can see that, going back for us, loads of different managers, and for them, they've had a change of manager as well. That game against them in May was against Unai Emery, and as I said, it was a tough game.
It was.
But this season, because of the changes, because we've now got Postecoglou in, it's going to be a completely different game. In my opinion, I think both teams are going to go for it. I think Villa, because they're coming off the back of that European game, the energy levels for them will probably wane towards the end of the game. So if I was them, if I'm the manager, if I'm the coach, I'm saying, well, let's try and go for it in the first 50, 60, 70 minutes of this game. If we can get them out, then we can probably try to get away with the last 20 minutes. We play well in the last 20 minutes, supposedly, and we score a lot of goals. So it really will be a close game. So I think, when we come to our predictions, mate, it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
because he joined them in November 2022. So
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, November 2022. So that's like you said,
this is his second home league game against us.
Yeah, and the beat us on the first one.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? He's one of them managers where he knows exactly what he's doing, and
Problem with sorry, go on. I'm just gonna say.
I said the game plan he's got. He knows how to play Spurs. He's played us. He beat us the way he done it at ARP Stadium when we was absolutely battering them first off. We didn't take the advantage, and then he tweaked his second half and ended up winning the game. So his man management, his game management, he's very good manager, mate. Very good managers. And tomorrow, although they played Ajax on Thursday at Ajax and they drew 0-0, he'll have them ready, mate. He'll have them ready for tomorrow.
Most definitely, they will be ready. And the problem, as I said, with these type of managers, I say type, the tactical managers, he will play his game. He will try to obviously do what he needs to do to win the game. But I don't think he's scared of changing his tactics partway through if it's not working.
Yeah,
you know, they play this notorious high line, which we keep getting told about us. They do exactly the same. I've seen them. They're exposed at the back. But when they came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and this is what I'm saying about home and away, is it going to be different for them tomorrow? When they came to our stadium, second half, they weren't going to let that space happen, and they were more defensively solid, and they played off the counter attack because they've got counter attacking weapons, and that's where I'm got a little bit. Okay, how are they going to approach the game? Are they going to go for it? As I said, I think they might do. We're going to have to fight fire with fire.
This is it. We're going to have to right. So. Where are we? Last 5. We beat Brentford 3-2. They beat Sheffield United 5-0. We drew 2-2 with Everton. They lost 2-1 to Manchester United. We beat Brighton 2-1. They beat Fulham 2-1. We lost to Wolves 2-1. They beat Forest 4-2. We beat Palace 3-1. They beat Luton 3-2. So we've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. They've won 4, lost 1. We struggled against Brentford. We struggled against Everton. We struggled against Brighton. We threw the game against Wolves, and we weren't that convincing against Crystal Palace until we got the 3 goals in the whatever minutes it was. So. Although we've won the 3 games, they've not been convincing performances like Villa's have.
Well, there is that, and again, I'm not trying to be sounding salty here, but they won 5-0 against Sheffield United, and then we're recently hearing about Arsenal having beat Sheffield United 6-1 or whatever it was there, and everybody's throwing at 6-0, and everybody's going about how they were fantastic, how it's the best since, but they weren't beaten 5-0. You know, I don't really hear much about people talking about that in the same sense, and that was away from home. The reason I pointed that out is because that's the only clean sheet that they've had in the last 5 games, and in our last 5 games we haven't got any clean sheets. So 1 clean sheet in 10 fixtures between both teams suggests to me that there's going to be goals, because the Sheffield United team don't really score a lot of goals, so I can understand why that's a clean sheet. But everything else, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Manchester United, Luton, then you've got Crystal Palace, Wolves, Brighton, Everton, Brentford, not necessarily the hardest teams in the world to play, and I'm including Man United in that. There's no Man Cities in there, there's no Liverpools, there's no Arsenals. So again, both teams are exposed on a goal scoring front.
Yes. This is it. But in terms of scoring goals, they've scored 5. They can score 4. They've scored 3. All right, they've scored 2 as well. Villa Palace one was 3 for us, but apart from that, we're not really we scored 3 against Brentford. But I agree with what you're saying. I'll be amazed tomorrow if either team keeps a clean sheet, and if it's a bloody 0-0, wow, no chance.
There's no chance.
Right,
I could probably put a bet on that. There's no chance of it being a 0-0, and then watch it goes and be a 0-0. This can't be. It can't be. Scored every goal this season, every game this season.
Exactly. So that's going to continue, isn't it? So the season so far, Villa are 4th, Spurs are 5th. They've won 17. Spurs have won 15. They've drawn 4. We've drawn 5. Both lost 6 games. Average goal scored per match, 2.19 to 2.12. So although they're saying Watkins and all them are on fire, We're only 0.07 in terms of goals. Conceded 1.37. Villa. Spurs have conceded 1.5. So again, not much difference. Clean sheets, they've kept 6. We've kept 5. Chances created, again, 2.3. We've created 2.27. Biggest win, 6-1 for Villa. We won 5-2. Their biggest defeat, 5-1. Ours worst was 4-1. So, looking at that, Sam, it's just, everything's close. Everything is just, you know what I mean? Go on.
Yeah, well, at this stage of the season now, when you've got 27 games on the board, 26 games, whatever, then the averages should start to pan out until give you like a realistic thing. If you do it after 5-10 games, it's not really real. You can see that this is probably the most direct comparison that we've got to any team in the Premier League in terms of the way they approach the games, the way they've got players that can make a difference. Obviously, I'm talking about Ollie Watkins up front for them. They've also got dangerous weapons in Leon, what's his name? Leon Bailey. Douglas Luiz in the middle as well.
Yeah.
They got Jacob Ramsey. What's the guy at the front? I've forgotten his name as well. They bought him this season. Player.
Yeah, I know you.
That's West Ham, the other guy. But anyway, basically what I'm saying is they've got as many weapons as I think we have. But they're also susceptible on the counter-attack. They're also susceptible because they do play this high line. And that's why the average goals conceded per match is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Clean sheets, again, this is what I'm saying about in terms of what this game's going to look like tomorrow. It literally, from this stats, you can't see how both teams won't be able to score. So, again, it's going to be a basketball game, I reckon.
It's going to be a basketball. It's going to be one of them, innit? To me, to you, from one end to the other end. That's what we're hoping. You're about Diaby, or are you on about Diaby? Because don't forget they've also got Zaniolo as well.
Forgot about him as well. Hasn't he been injured recently?
I think he's hit and miss with him.
Yeah, he's been hit and miss. We was looking at him. I remember when we was looking at him, but then obviously his injuries kind of made us not.
Yeah, and don't forget they've also got a Fug as well, aren't they, in their team? So
Matty debit card, not cash.
Yeah,
he's gonna get it somewhere.
And I'm sure tomorrow there's going to be no contactless payments on him. I tell you that now.
No, he's going to be Matty check. He's going to get checked tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, like you said, Sam, everything tomorrow just seems like this is going to be one of the games of the weekend. I know there's Liverpool, Man City as well.
We can't really out-trump that game because that probably is the game of the weekend, but we certainly are probably the second, definitely.
Exactly. There we go. Look. Hello, Paxton Road. I wear your hoodie. I bought 2 matches, so I'm a walking advert. Thank you, Ellie. Just a girl who loves Spurs. There you go. There you go. Right. So, brings me on to teams then. So, obviously, you must have heard the press conference yesterday.
Some of it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I missed it, but I sort of cottoned on to little bits and bats about it in terms of Saw still having that back issue, Pedro Porro being back, Solomon, don't know what's going on with him, Sessegnon injury, and then I think apart from that, everyone else is available. Pedro Porro being the biggest one, he's been training all week, so he's in the squad, which for me, that is massive. So I'm thinking this is what I would put the team out. Now,
actually, I have to lean forward for this one. I'm going to lean forward slightly.
This is mine. This is what I think, but I'll tell you why. Okay, so back five is obviously Porro comes in for Emerson Royal, and then you got Romero, Van der Ven, and Destiny Udogie. Romero's not had a yellow card all season, and there's been a lot of Postecoglou did say some stuff about him, saying that he's amazing and his obviously attitude and everything's changed now. But tomorrow he comes up against, and we all saw the pictures at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when our players got nobbled. by Cash and Romero. Pictures on the sidelines, you know, with his mafia style stance and everything. So is he going to be tamed tomorrow, Sam? Has Ange already told him, and have the rest of the players told him, tame your anger because we don't want you sent off? Because
sorry, I didn't know.
I was going to say, or is it going to be a collective effort from the team?
Listen, you can't. These are men we're talking about, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to discriminate between men and women. But this is a game where these guys. Yes, the manager's going to say certain things. Yes, the coach is going to say control your heads. But you know yourself, if you've been in a battle, you've got your teammates, and then someone's done what Matty Cash did to Bentancur knowingly, because it looked like it was almost a deliberate act to me. Then you're going to remember that. And there is going to be something in this tomorrow. Now, whether or not it's Romero who goes and does it, that's not make it too obvious. But there's other players in that team who can probably, you know what I mean, put a foot in or two. It'll be interesting to see if Bentancur starts and when you get to your midfielder, because that's going to determine whether he's going to think to himself, right, because I think that'd be an inspiration for him. He hasn't played his best in the last few games, but again, he's coming back from a long-term injury. But this might be the spark to actually get him going again.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you're joining us midway through the stream, PRTV Spurs, if you've already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow us, leave your comments in the section as well, because we'd love to hear what you're saying. Obviously, this is just not a game tomorrow. The top 4 in question. It's the comeback that everybody's been waiting for, with Matty Cash playing tomorrow, Bentancur coming back as well. What's your thoughts? Drop a comment in the section. We will put them up there. Sam, just for you, mate. Your setup looks great, bit unbalanced. See the shelf on the right and little planet on the left, not following Feng Shui. I think not that unbalanced like Spurs this season.
It's true. This side, isn't it? I was going to put a picture up, Juice, but then I thought, because it wasn't. I didn't have a Spurs picture. And then I thought, you know what? If I do other streams, then I can be a blank screen and stuff. But thank you for that. I'm going to try and get it up. Juice, you know what, Juice? Put it in the comments how you think I should set it up.
Yeah.
That would be
Juice,
ideal.
I did before we went on stream. I did hear Sam say that he's got a picture of you in the back, but you never sent one.
That's made of crisp packets, by the way. Someone made that out of crisp packets. I'll show that on screen one time. I've
got a comment from Spurs U. Is it required for the panel to be part of the channel? You know what? It's
people are taking the piss today.
It's not a necessity, but it's good. It's good to be bold.
I mean, piss out of us.
So. Yeah, I'm not bold. I shave my head, so I'm not bold by choice. I'm assuming you're the same, Sam.
I'm receding, shall we say? So it makes it easier to make it completely bald, because you don't want to have, you know what I mean,
this is
this on screen. You got to look professional with this stuff.
That's it. Or depending on how old you are, Spurs U, if you've seen The Wanderers, the film back from the 90s or the 80s, don't with the boldies, as they said.
Don't worry, we have got some people who do have hair. They're younger panelists that do come on. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Wasn't familiar with this channel. Ellie sent me over from Irish Hotspur. Liked and subscribed. Thank you very much, Paul G. What took you so long? What took you forever? But thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing. And please make sure you follow us, because we've got loads of content. I'm sure Ellie has already told you how wonderful we are. Wonderful. Or we are beautiful. It's true. But Sam, agree with the back 5 then? No changes there, right?
That's standard. If we've got all them players available and fit, that's the standard back 5. The only thing I will say is, and we talked about it before, is Dragusin. How does he kind of come in? If one of these players was to get injured in terms of the back 2, in terms of the centre backs, he's going to have to replace him. I don't want to see Emerson Royal or Davies come in, regardless of whether it's Van de Ven or Romero.
This is it. Right. So that's the back 5. Now, this is what I think the midfield will be. I think Basuma starts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think Bentancur starts, and I think Maddison. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. He said yesterday in the press conference again that Saw is still not 100% because of he's got a back injury.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair. That's
and
fair.
he said he'd done really well when he came on.
That's fair.
For that reason, I'm saying Bentancur starts because Saw is, I think, I'd rather have Saw coming off the bench than Bentancur coming off the bench, if you know what I mean. Because Saw will give you a lot more in that when he comes off the bench. His what do you call it? His work rate and his performance levels will be better for me coming off the bench, because if he starts the game within the 10-15 minutes, something happens to his back or whatever, he's then going to rejig the whole game plan. So this is the reason I think he goes with Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison. Your thoughts, people in the comments, thoughts, please. What do you think?
I agree. Again, when we look at how we play, we base it on a 4-3-3. There's variations of the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1s, all the rest of it, but basically as a 4-3-3 shape. I expect, in my opinion, as a coach, having looked at how this team's playing, looked at how Villa are playing, being away from home, I suspect we'll probably start with Bentancur, Basuma side by side in a double pivot, but they'll be obviously flexible. We'll have Maddison floating as he normally does. So that means that they're going to have to work really hard, Bentancur and Basuma, to cover those spaces where Maddison is going to be looking to pick up the ball, because he's going to be looking to link up with Son and also to pick up the ball in other areas. Now, because I think that Aston Villa are going to be very attacking, I think that's the reason why he's probably going to have that double pivot. But you're right, if we need to chase the game, let's say, and one of those midfielders gets a little bit tired, then Sarr is probably an ideal person to come on. It's more than likely to be for Bentancur, because as I said, Bentancur's not quite at that fitness levels. But as mentioned earlier, I think he'd be motivated to play tomorrow because of the fact of what happened last time.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the more game time he gets, the better. And I think that midfield three against Villa's midfield three, it'll be interesting. And
on paper, Sid, that's a fantastic three. All them players playing at the top of their game, all of them, and I'm talking about Basuma and Bentancur particularly, that midfield three rivals quite a number of midfield threes in the Premier League. Now, some people say, well, what about Arsenal with Rice, and they've got Odegaard, etc., etc. But, you know, this has got talent in there as well. This has got goals in there, and this has got defensive capabilities. And everybody was after Basuma when he was, you know, that man. So he needs to just get back and consistently be at that level. I think Bentancur will do after this season, and by the next season, we're going to have some choices.
Of course. And Ellie's saying here, Højbjerg should come off if McGinn and Douglas Luiz are winning the physical battle. Need Pierre's physicality and shithousery to nullify them. I think Ange will have that in mind. Yeah, that's why I think Højbjerg saw in on the bench for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Højbjerg has got a chance to possibly start, but again, we haven't seen that too many times this season unless it was forced upon him by injuries, and I'm saying that about Postecoglou. He's already been crowing about this is the midfielder he wants to see more often than not, Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison. Now, Sarr has pushed that to become a player that is possibly a starter in that out of those three as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
And Jodi saying here, Maddison coming back from injury, now 5th game back. Dave from Leicester said it usually takes him 5 games to get back to form after injury from his Leicester time. He should be cooking anytime soon. It depends what oil he's using, though, isn't it? If it's going to be vegetable, sunflower, or olive oil. I hope it's olive oil, because then he could be cooking some serious stuff.
I suggest ghee butter. That's nicer.
Right. This one's an interesting one now, because who said it here? Ellie said Johnson deserves a start over his last 2 performances. Press conference again yesterday. Ange said that Johnson is he's pushing for a start. He said his last couple of performances when he's come off the bench, he's done really well. He's assisted, scored, and he's pushing, and he deserves a start. However, I believe the children or the future. Let them.
Can I ask one question?
Go on.
Did he say anything about Richarlison and his fitness?
Got out. Richarlison's out.
Okay, fine.
Richarlison's out as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention Richarlison's out as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe he goes with Kulu, Werner, Son. Now, the reason I say this is Kulu will start on the right. If things are not happening, then he'll probably be put into the middle like he has been for the last couple of games. Johnson then will come on the right to take over. Son is the obvious choice to play up top because I think that's his preferred option as well, and he makes a lot of runs, and tomorrow I think he'll get a lot of space and Maddison to find him. Werner, in my opinion, had a decent game last week. Sort of getting to his form. And again, Ange has said, because this 17 million pound buy clause come out, and apparently he turned around and said he played really well. He's the kind of player that I want. He's getting slowly now. He's becoming the player that I want him to be. And his words, he could have a massive impact for this club. So I think Werner starts. As much as everyone wants Johnson to start, as Jules says here, and I have to agree with Jules here now, Johnson still a good impact player. Let's not jinx it. I think Johnson coming off the bench gives us a massive, massive impact going forward last 20-25 minutes, and teams will know how good he can be because he can run at players, he can assist, he can even score. That's what I think.
There's some variations with this front line that you can have, particularly with Son and Werner. They can probably interchange. You might see Werner play up through the centre. You might see Son go out to the left. You don't tend to see Kulusevski play through the middle because Kulusevski, if he does change position, usually goes into that 10 position. So again, there's options for Postecoglou during the game to make these changes, possibly depending on how the game goes. But Werner's being paid 165 grand a week. I think he starts regardless. And not because personally I think he should start, but I think in terms of how things have panned out, I think he's probably better off starting. And Johnson coming off, because Johnson has provided us with more impact coming off the bench, but he's provided that impact more so off the right-hand side. So this is where it gets a little bit sticky. If you then have to take Werner off and you put Johnson on the left, he's not as effective, although he is half decent. Kulusevski doesn't seem to work well from the left-hand side as we see it. So we're a little bit lopsided, hence the reason why I think Werner starts there anyway. So they'll probably play him for as long as he's decent. Now, second half, he was better than he was first half last week, but I still think there's more. He should give us more, but I don't think it's his fault. I just don't think he's that player that's going to score us 25 goals a season.
He's not going to score 25, and I think Postecoglou said that. I'm not bringing him to score the goals. I'm bringing him for the assists and get the goals as and when he can. Used at the game last week, that first half, him and Son didn't get the ammunition. I said it to you as well last week. How many times was Werner always on his own, ready? But the ball was never played in front of him. It was always played to his feet or in front of him where he couldn't do it.
Now, tomorrow, that shouldn't be the case.
Exactly.
There should be space. This is what I'm saying. For him now, this is not... If Aston Villa plays like how we think they're going to play at their place, that should give him ideal opportunities. What I'm hoping now that Postecoglou is going to get into these players is play that ball over the top. I keep talking about 3 ways of scoring. You can go around a team, you can go over the team, you can go through a team. We've been trying to go through teams too many times. We've also tried to go around teams at times, not very successfully until the second half last week. But the ball over the top is always on against a team like Aston Villa, who will play aggressively. We just have to make sure the quality of our passes in that final third, even from that midfield, are better than they were last week, because I don't think we played that great in the final third.
And we've got 2 runners. We've got Son and Werner, and we know both of them can. If you play the ball to them, because last week you saw it, Son was always on the edge of that defender, last defender, making them twisted runs, bending the defender right, going left and everything. But the ball was never played. They decided to do what you're saying, tippy-tappy kind of pass, try and score that beautiful goal. So we've got the runners. It's just that finding that person Madison the time, Bentancur the time to thread the ball and find them players. Because like you said, tomorrow they will give us as much opportunities as we're going to give them. Ellie's predicted team is Vicario, Poro, Romero, Van der Ven, Destiny, Saw, Bissouma, Madders, Kulu, Sonny, and Johnson. So she's got Saw and Johnson as opposed to my Werner and Bentancur. But obviously Saw's, we don't know what's going to be happening.
He might be putting a fast one on Saar, because remember last week, what did he say about a certain player he wasn't quite sure was going to play or whatever? Udoji, that was it. We weren't quite sure about Udoji playing last week because he said he might, he's all right, he's not sure. I think there might be a similar thing tomorrow with Saar. I can see Saar possibly starting, but if he is injured and he's generally injured or he's not quite 100% fit, then why take the risk?
This is it. And Spurs is obviously nobody was feeding to Son's feet in the last game. Got to get Maddison to find Son's feet tomorrow.
This but is also over the top. Over the top also get that ball over the top. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be. You don't need to always come to feet, because when you come to feet, that means you usually in front of the defender. You know what I mean? So they're behind you, so they've already got an advantage there. If you turn, you have to beat them with skill. If you're playing the ball over the top and you have got pace like Son has and Werner has, you're forcing the defenders to turn. You're forcing them to go towards their goal. And they always say defenders going towards their goal is not an ideal situation for them. So again, play to the strengths of what the opposition is going to do. Ball over the top tomorrow has got to work. It's got to be an option for us.
And Villa are the team like Spurs where you're going to be giving them opportunities, because they, like us, like to counter, like to play forward. Not as much like defending, because both teams have only kept 5 and 6 clean sheets respectively. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Just looking at, as you said, just looking at how many goals Villa have scored 59, we've scored 55. Villa have conceded 37, we've conceded 39. 22 goal difference to them, 16 to us. So again, it's not much in it.
No. And the thing is, as well, tomorrow's game, then, in your opinion, where's it going to be won and lost? I'll let you go first. Where do you think that what's going to be the key battles that's going to win the game for either Spurs or Villa?
The key battle is who takes their chances, who's more efficient in front of goal. They've got Ollie Watkins, who's been very efficient in terms of his goal scoring. They've also got other Bailey. They've also got other players, because both teams are very attacking. They don't, not say they've forgotten about defense, but we just looked at the graphic with 10 games between both of them, 1 clean sheet, and that was against Sheffield United. So I don't expect that high on the priority is defending. Not to say they don't have defensive capabilities, but they're trying to outscore teams. If that's the case, you have to take your chances. We will get chances, they will get chances. Vicario has proved to be probably the best keeper in the league, but what's his name isn't far behind.
Martinez.
He ain't far behind. He's a good keeper. And on his day, and I've seen it, he can make sure that we don't get the goals that we probably deserve or want to get. So again, take your chances. We've got Son in front of goal, who's probably our most clinical. They've got Ollie Watkins in front of goal, who's their most clinical.
I think what Ellie said is that midfield battle tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting. And I think whoever wins that midfield battle wins the game for the strikers.
I agree, but what I'm saying is we've seen midfield battles before. What I'm saying that what I've seen, having watched Spurs all season, is that we haven't been, in my opinion, although we scored a lot of goals, really, really clinical in the final third. We can get the ball into those areas. We can get the ball into the wide areas in Kulusevski. We can do all of that stuff, but then that little bit of breakdown. And that's possibly because we hadn't had Son for the majority of games when he was away. I'm hoping that now improves, because we do get into good areas. So yes, she's right. The midfield battle is going to be a big key area, but it always is in any football game. It really always is, unless you're playing directly from your defence over the top, which both teams are not going to do. There will be times when both teams get the ball in the midfield quickly off a transition, and they're going to play that ball over, in my opinion. So yes, midfield is going to be a battle, but strikers, goal scorers, take your chances tomorrow. That's the main thing that we've got to make sure we do.
Yeah, and their midfield in the last game against Luton, it was where was it? It was Jacob Ramsey, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Bailey. So I think McGinn and Douglas Luiz are the two, in my opinion, that need to be pinned down, because both of them can score, and Douglas Luiz has been scoring quite a lot of goals this season. And then obviously Bailey, for me, Bailey on the right against Destiny is going to be a very interesting battle, because Bailey's been on fire, and Destiny's going to have to be very astute, because he's going to have to try and play his game going forward. However, Bailey's going to be on him constantly, and I just don't want it to end up being, I think it's going to be them two are going to be just being chasing each other forward, backwards, because whichever one of them two gets ahead, and I think out of the two, I think Bailey's more potent for me going forward, and he can create. Destiny can, but on form at this precise moment, I think Bailey is lethal.
And the reason I'm saying about the transition being a potent weapon for both teams tomorrow is because they play a high line we do. We also play with inverted fullbacks. So what everybody knows, but our fullbacks don't necessarily play in the wide areas all the time. They're in midfield. Again, when you break down the play, if you lose the ball in that area, where's the space? The space is going to be in the wide areas in our defensive half. So if I was them, we win the ball back. You win it with Porro and a dog in. Again, remember, Porro's coming back off the 2-3 weeks off of not being playing. You know, they're going to play and expose those areas. And if you've got the likes of Leon Bailey and Diaby playing, and they're going to play in those areas, they've got pace. That's where the game will be won and lost. Hence the reason I'm saying, if you get into them areas, take your fucking chances, Spurs, because we will get them chances, because they probably will tomorrow.
This is it. So, like you said, going into tomorrow's game, Liverpool top, Manchester City second, Arsenal third. We might as well forget about them three. Aston Villa fourth, played 27, 17, won 4, lost 6, 59 scored, like you said, 37 conceded, 22 goal difference, 55 points. Spurs, 26 games, 15 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses, 55 scored, 39 conceded, 16 goal difference, 50 points. So, like you said, they've scored 4 more than us. We've conceded 2 more than them. So, you know what? They say their strikers are on fire, but we're only 4 less than them. So,
and we've played 1 game less. So let's say we scored 2
in
the next game when we come and play. We could be around about this. That's what I'm saying. It's very, very similar. There's not much difference in these two teams.
This is it. So, then it is that time, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, all of you watching, let's put your cash where your mouth is, or let's put your debit contactless card where your mouth is, and let's get on with
that's comment.
The score prediction. Right, let's have a look. Spurs use no. Okay, I've got that one. Use not. Hearts wants Villa 0, Spurs 7 with cash straight red, but head says 2-1 to Aston Villa. Sam, he's saying 2-1 to Aston Villa.
So, I think there could well be a bit more aggression in this game because of the last game. The last game where Matty Cash did what he did. Players will be up for it. Players aren't going to shy away from the battle. If they've got anything about them, these Spurs players, they will make sure that is part of their talk. We have to make sure we address this physically, not over the top, but you've got to do it slightly. So I'm thinking there's going to be some real tough tackles, and particularly in that early stage, first half. Now, we win that battle against them physically. That put them on the back foot because of the fact that they played midweek. That physicality might be slightly less in them unless they're really, really up for it. And Unai Emery might get them up for it because of the fact he's playing against his 4th versus 5th. They win tomorrow, they're probably going to stay in 4th. I don't see us getting ahead of them. We win tomorrow, that puts immense pressure on them to have to continue what they're doing in Europe and also in the league. Scoreline. Oh, you bastard.
While you're thinking, Tricky says Spurs 2, Aston Villa 2.
And you know what, Tricky?
Yeah, Spurs U, Ellie, Jews, he said it, Paul G.
I'm going to go 2-2 as well. I think 2-2. The reason being, I think that Villa will, being at home, that's an advantage, obviously.
Yeah.
But the disadvantage for them is they had played on Thursday. So it's 2 days recovery to get to tomorrow. That being said, they have got motivation to not lose the game. So they can, as I said, because he's a tricky manager, change potentially. If they see it going a little bit too haywire, we might change it. Let's get a little bit more solid. Again. 2-2, Sid. 2-2. Son and Maddison.
Okay, you're going to Dinosaur saying 3-4 Son hat-trick. Spurs, you saying 3-1 to Spurs. Ooh, tricky one is saying Villa will be up for it. Do you know what? They had a game on Thursday against Ajax, right?
Away from home as well.
Away from home. It's a good result. I'm just gonna have a quick deck at what team they put out on Thursday.
Apparently Torres is out. Apparently.
Yeah, Pau Torres is out. Right. So, Konsa got sent off as well for them. Interesting. Right. Their lineup against Ajax on. They had Martinez, Konsa, Longley, Torres, Digne, Rogers, Douglas Luiz, Iro Bagunam, Diaby, Tielemans, and Watkins. So he changed it up a little bit. So obviously he rested a few players. So I think
again, the smart management, because he knows they can't lose the game if they don't, which they got a draw from it. So they couldn't lose necessarily unless they got tonked away from home. They know their home form, particularly in Europe, is going to be good. So that I think they're relying on the fact that they could probably beat Ajax on the return leg. And they had to rest a few players for tomorrow's game because he's not stupid and he's not taking the piss. He's not thinking they're playing Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, no disrespect to them, but he's playing Spurs. He can't just come up and just think, if we turn up and really go for it, we should have the physical strength, we should have the additional extra rest time, and we should be able to, if we get that first goal early, make it a real good game for us. But the longer it goes on, the more tricky it gets.
This is it. And Unai Emery is not a bad manager. He knows how to play teams. He knows how to deal with managers. So he will have a plan. He'll have it all set up, whether it's the same as what they've done against us, but this time they're at home. So it'll be very, very interesting. I think it's going to be a very tricky game for Spurs tomorrow. However, I still think there's a lot of bad memories from that game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't think there's anything else Ange needs to say in that dressing room. I think Romero will lead that dressing room tomorrow because of what happened in that game. I think Maddison will lead it as well. Son will lead that as well. So all three of them will come together. It's a very tough game to call that tomorrow. It's a very tough game. And like you said, I think whoever comes out in that midfield, and like you've said already, who takes their chances. Tomorrow's going to be all about taking the chances. You take your chances, you win that game. Simple.
Because as I said, I keep seeing the game as being that both teams are going to get opportunities to score, and I've liked the fact that Ollie Watkins is the top English goal scorer in terms of combined goals and assists, so top goal contribution. That's great. That's really, really fantastic. So we can't go there and they're good at set pieces as well. You know, they've scored a good few goals from set pieces I've seen. They've worked on that.
David Clark, good afternoon. Villa 1, Spurs 2. Son to score 2 goals. So, everyone. Do you know what? I think it'll be 3-2. But I think it's going to be 3-2 either way. This is the problem. Dirty Sanchez is saying 2-2 or 3-3, set up for goals. I agree. I think there you go. Torres came off injured midweek. I think tomorrow's game is going to be full of goals, and it could go either way, 3-2. But obviously, I've got to go with Spurs 3-2. But it could be Villa 3-2 or it could be Spurs. But I'm going with Spurs 3-2 anyway. I just hope the match doesn't get abandoned after 15-20 minutes and it just goes into chaos. But no, I think 3-2. Jews, just a quick one for you. You know, he was saying there was something missing in the background. I've got this right. Do you think I should give this to Sam?
What? You can't give me that. That's too much, man. Even I say that's too much, man. That's too much. That's a bloody good picture, though.
Do you know what? One of my colleagues at work, he said to me he was given this, and he says, "Do you want it?" I said, "Are you mad?" He said, "No, I don't want it." He says, "It's no use for me." So I said, "I'll take it off you." But, Jews, do you think that picture will look on that wall, like you said? Do you think this picture will seal the deal? Because if it does, I will give it to Sam.
That area right there, I think. If that like I said, I'll pay for the postage. No problem with that. I'll definitely do that. No problem with that. And if that's the case,
yes.
If that's the case, Jews, you've hit on that. Look what I've got out of it today.
There you go.
No, seriously, that's a really nice picture.
I'll send that over to you, bro. I'm telling you. It's yours.
God.
It's yours. I'll send it to you.
Let me know postage, you know. I'll post you that straight away, man, because that will go up as soon as I get it.
Yeah, I will send it. I will send that over to you, mate. Juice, there you go. There you go.
Nice one.
There we go. Look, I think it's a good bet for a Spurs win. We should cash in. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, David, I did mention that I hope it's not contactless tomorrow. Anyway, guys, thank you, everyone. We had about 50 people watching tonight. If you already haven't subscribed to the channel, like I already mentioned, please show your support, show your love for PRTV Spurs, because that's where all the content's going to be heading over to. Plenty of it, all this excitement. We take your comments on board. You said that Sam was missing something. He's gonna be getting a picture of all the favorite players on there. So thank you very much, everyone, in the comment section. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. The sun is shining today. Hope you have a lovely Saturday. And Sam, thank you very much for joining me.
As always.
As always. Tomorrow we will do we normally do it on a Monday because we like to watch the game, get our frustrations, get our anger, get our excitement, get it all out of the way, have a sleep on the result, wake up Monday, do the reaction. So join us on Monday for the reaction show. Hopefully it will be a superb show like today's one. Wherever you're in the world, wherever you're going to be watching the game, enjoy the game. And as always, what we say, come on, you Spurs! Come on! Develop